Welcome to the Rich Life Reframe podcast. We've been given an amazing opportunity in entrepreneurship that's never been available in any other time period. We live in a reality where the number of lives we impact can be directly reflected by the dollars in our bank accounts. This podcast is all about living a truly rich life that goes beyond the amount of income that we make. It means living the good life and existing in a state of freedom, security, and well-being. In this podcast, we'll be going through quick reframes that can help you get your mind right so you can truly live the life that you've always dreamed of. That being said, let's hop into this episode. Back to another episode of Rich Life Reframe. I guess we're turning this into a video show today and a podcast. But what I want to talk about today are the 3 pillars that help me get to 7 figures inside of my online business. And I also want to talk about how this relates to what I would call bro marketing and some of the tactics that you may have seen used when it comes to building a business online and how I did it differently than anyone and how that continues to affect how I do business today. So some of you know who I am, some of you know my story, but if we hadn't had an opportunity to meet yet, I have grown my business to $2.5 million in the last 18 months alone by using what I call a tiny offer. So a front end funnel that brings in limitless leads, runs lots of traffic, new faces, new eyeballs into my business. And that's basically the only strategy that I've relied on, and then selling into a higher ticket program. This is easily replicated in all sorts of different businesses in all sorts of different niches. So I want to share with you a little bit today about what that has looked like for me and how I did it differently than many of the guru or big names that you've seen in the online space. And it made a massive difference for the amount of alignment I had inside of my business and how much it helped me be able to scale and grow in a really aligned and ethical way. So when I started my business 5-ish years ago, my online specific teaching business, there was a lot of fear-based marketing. So it was, those countdown timers that I know we've all seen, the limited time offers that you could just refresh the page and all of a sudden there it is starting over again. There was a lot of lying to people about expectations, about the reality of products, and overall giving the online marketing or the info product industry a bad name in general. I'm sure you've seen a lot of those generally men who are posing in front of Ferraris with fancy watches and big houses because they're selling the dream. They're selling a specific dream where if they're talking about their businesses and then they're casually, scrolling by with their mansion in the background, it's a perceived status that's going to help you feel like, ooh, I want some of what they have. Let me listen to them or let me try to learn from them. And what a lot of people don't realize is that they're teaching about how to teach, or they're coaching coaches on how to coach coaches. It becomes this interesting business that is similar to a pyramid scheme where people are teaching others how to do what it is that they're doing. Now, how I teach it is differently than how a lot of them teach it, because a lot of those guys don't actually have business chops other than teaching people, how to teach, how to run businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of these bro marketers use any tactic possible to get people convinced to buy, whether it's tricking them with, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. They are talking about they're talking about revenue. They're not talking about profit or expenses, just talking about how much money they've made. And to be honest with you, I've seen behind the scenes in some of these businesses, and they're not even really taking that much home, and they're financing everything that you see in the videos. So they've got a $1 million mortgage, they've got a $200,000 car loan, they've leveraged everything they have for their business, but one fail, one move in the wrong direction, and they will lose everything. Which I don't know about you, but that is not how I want to live my life. I don't want to be stressed month over month hoping that cash comes in. I like living a nice life with nice things, but I also like being debt free, and I like having investments so that I always have that freedom and security no matter what's happening on the business side. So that's one pillar of the business that I've created. I have taken everything that I've made inside of this business so far. I've invested it into people. I've invested it into buying real estate, and I'm teaching myself about how to invest in the stock market. So I'm reading a lot of books by Warren Buffett, and some other, people that really understand what it looks like to pick a couple stocks and wait for an event to happen and then invest and earn more back than like the typical 7%, or I guess it's like a 4% rule. I have a lot to learn, but the point is I am learning. I am actively investing in myself, investing in my future, so that this business isn't just on one single leg. I don't have all of my eggs in one basket. So that's one pillar that's helped me get to this point, is investing in people, investing in traffic, and building a really secure long-term legacy business that is bringing in multiple streams of revenue instead of just using this business to finance as much as possible to create some level of achievement that is perceived on the outside, or some status that will help me sell. So what I've used instead of fear-based tactics, so instead of using the countdown timers and stuff like that to get people to buy, instead I make things that are so valuable that it's a no-brainer for people to sign up and to purchase. Instead of saying, I only have 20 spots available, when actually people know it's a digital product and it's limitless, I make it so valuable for them and, help them see the immediate return on their investment. So the urgency and the scarcity is actually real. If they don't take action, they're not going to be moving further in their business. If they don't invest now, they're going to be stuck where they are. So helping them see, because I without a doubt, urgency and scarcity helps them get off the fence, helps them make a decision and actually get into taking action. But there are ways to build up that urgency and scarcity without relying on fear-based marketing tactics. If you can build a relationship with people, if you can connect with people, that will help you have that long-term sustainability, where if someone purchases from you, and this has happened to me because people had a perceived idea of internet marketing in general before joining my programs, that they may join and they already have a chip on their shoulder about their expectations or how much return that they're going to get from the program. And sometimes your customer's experience isn't 100% on you. Sometimes people come in with their own view on what it's going to look like, and you can't always change that for people. But I have always defaulted to making sure people feel safe joining a program, that they feel hope, that they feel encouraged and empowered when they're joining a program of mine, because I know that will lead to longer term customers. It will lead to happier people and create more of the ripple effect that I want to create in the world, instead of creating programs that people feel like they got talked into, that they got tricked into joining. Like what happens when you use these fear-based marketing tactics. Your refunds are going to be higher. Your overall client happiness and long-term client value is going to go down massively. You might get them at the front, and after a longer period of time, they'll see that you had tricked them to get into their programs, and there's like a resentment that's under the surface that I never want to have with my customers. So one pillar is always being really authentic and being really open in the marketing that I'm using. And over time, I have hired contractors who wrote copy inside of my business that heavily relied on fear-based marketing tactics, and it never felt very good. I've had contractors that told me to sell programs for, more than I wanted to sell them for, because they would have sold for that amount. But there's a line of ethics for me where it has to feel good. It has to feel like it's in an alignment when it comes to pricing. Pricing is such a personal topic for people that it's got to feel right for you to be really excited about selling it. And for a while, I've sold programs inside of my business that weren't in alignment pricing-wise either. So really listening to your own gut instincts and doing what feels best to you, or what feels best for you, because oftentimes, and we're not talking about money mindset issues or blocks that people might have around making sales or asking for money. That's something totally different, and that could probably be its own episode, frankly. But this is about how much value are people going to get from the program, how much support are they going to get from the program, and really understanding, making sure that their expectations are in alignment with the pricing, and that will lead to longer term relationships with your customers and help you build the 6-figure, the 7-figure, and even expand into the 8, 9, 10-figure business as you grow, because those customers are going to be fans for life. So that's one pillar, is always staying in alignment for what feels good inside of my programs, inside of my marketing. Another thing when it comes to the way that I've grown my business is it's not me being in your face with all of my time creating content all the time, because oftentimes there's like the masculine world of selling and then there's the feminine world of selling. Females, when we sell, often our feminine energy is much more from a service standpoint. It's from a connection, it's from nurturing. And you can create those systems that also are in alignment with a more masculine energy of, being a little more aggressive, having more touch points, asking for the sale. It's just a different energy. So when I started selling, I found a way to combine my natural nurturer, my natural feminine energy of wanting to really connect with people, and also that masculine energy of not being afraid to get out there and ask people for the sale. So when I created systems in my business, running ads for me and having funnels and having, those, again, sales systems set up where I could sell all day long every single day, but my natural tendency to answer every message that I get, to respond to people, to help people feel seen, feel heard, I was able to actually create more time for myself to run that kind of business where I was connecting with people and, really nurturing, I guess, is the word that keeps coming up for me when it comes to like the feminine energy versus masculine energy in the sales world. I had my sales machine over here doing all that work for me so that I could support and nurture and make sure that I'm building rapport and actually talking to people on the other side. So having those two sides set up in my business was an absolute necessity for me as well. So it looked like running ads, 2 sales funnels that sold for me, having email sequences that continued the sale, and then making sure that I was getting out there and connecting with people, answering all my messages, creating content like this, and making sure that side is well supported too. The third pillar is remembering my own definition of living a truly rich life. So for me, that looks like having the energy to work out every single day, the energy to read and play and get on the floor with my kids and actually give them my direct intentional time. It looks like spending time with my husband. It looks like going on date nights or having, watching movies after the kids have gone to bed, or, cooking a really nutritious meal for my kids every single night. My kids and my husband, I should say. I don't just cook for my kids, but cooking a family dinner where we can sit down and have that time together every single night. Those things are super important to me. So I've found the areas of my life that helped me delegate the people that support me in my business in order to, check off some of the tasks that I don't necessarily need to be doing in order to have the type of rich life and intentional life that I want to be leading. So that looks like having a home manager in my house who helps me with laundry. The fact that I'm not folding and putting my laundry away doesn't make me live less of a rich life, because that clears up more time for me to actually sit with my kids and give them my direct attention. The things that I don't have an emotional connection to, I have delegated to my home manager. She helps me prep vegetables so I can cook with my kids in the kitchen at night. She's helped me, do laundry. She helps me organize my house so I can find things more quickly, so I'm not, all over the place wasting time searching for things, those types of things. In my business, I have a customer service person who is amazing, and she helps answer all the emails so that my energy is cleared up for creation and connection. I have a copywriter who helps me take my words and repurpose them into amazing emails, social media posts, and then I have a social media team member who helps get the word out on social media channels so that I can sit and be in creative mode and be in the visionary seat so that I can get more done. So I've been really intentional about the programs that I've created, about just the structures to give me the biggest bang for my buck, to be able to work smarter, not harder, to be able to repurpose things and reach and make an impact on as many people as possible in, typically like 15 to 20 hours a week, because that's all that I've put on my calendar for my working hours. So it's usually about 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. Prior to going into distance learning with my kids, I would leave at noon and go pick up my kids and, be there for them, be the first face they see after getting out of school, and then I would drop them off, and then I would go to the gym. School's now closed, the gym is now closed, so things look a little different. But for the most part, I want to be super present with my kids, and I also want to make a lot of money because I want to have that legacy business. I want to continue investing so that my family has freedom and flexibility for the rest of our lives. Whether this business continues, if I get burned out, if I, want to just go flip houses for a living. I want to have that level of financial security so that we have those options when we want to have those options. So that's my definition of having a rich life. So having that Venn diagram of what I consider to be a truly rich life, that rich life blueprint, which is time, money, and energy, making sure that I stay in that sweet spot of making enough time, of making a crap ton of money so that there is a level of ease and flexibility, but also having the energy left over to enjoy it. I don't subscribe to that bro culture of hustle, 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 working 60 hours a week. Even if I bring home a little less money because I have an amazing team that I'm supporting, it's worth it to me to still have, that sweet spot of time, money, and energy where I have an abundance. I know, I have enough, I have more than enough. I'm able to donate, I'm able to volunteer, I'm able to be at home, I'm able to support a team. All because of the way that I've set my business up to run ads to systems, to build relationships with people in a really authentic way for the long-term success of my business, and also really taking care of myself at the same time so that I don't hit that burnout point where I just want to burn my business to the ground and disappear for 6 months to a year. I've always been super intentional about those three things, and that's what has helped me hit 7 figures in my business, and what will help me continue to grow and shift into the next version of myself, whatever that looks like, is continually being open to receiving and excited about new growth opportunities and staying in that sweet spot of what a rich life looks like to me. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so excited that you've been able to be here with me today. I love getting to bring this kind of content to you and just get to hang out and chat. And I would love if you would subscribe, if you would share, so that I can keep creating more videos and reaching even more amazing people like you. So thanks for being here. I'll talk to you again soon.